Okay, our last review comes requested by the movie critic dude, and he wants us to look at a movie called Hoodwinked. Hoodwinked is a Western movie from 2005. Ow! Okay, for real though. Hoodwinked is an animated movie from 2005 that was created by Canbar Entertainment, but mostly by Blue Yonder Films. While both have little in the way of produced films, the latter also produced Escape from Planet Earth as their only other animated film right now. But the real star in this case is the Weinstein Company, as they distributed this thing just like with Dougal. Actually, this film is one of the earliest examples of CG animated films being independently funded, for while traditional animated films had this happen, this one was also done in the Philippines, which allowed directors Corey and Todd Edwards more creative freedom in their product. At least until the Weinstein Company signed on near the end of production, and some things got changed. Well, while the DVD cover has a quote saying it's the funniest film since Shrek, it's funny to note that they did at least try to deviate from the Shrek formula with a different approach to the fairy tale parody genre that spawned from it. Can it be true? Can this at least be entertaining in what it does and not just be another Dougal situation? Only one way to find out. This is Hoodwinked. This film begins with a horror filter?
Red Riding Hood. You probably know the story. But there's more to every tale than meets the eye. It's just like they always say. You can't judge a book by its cover. If you want to know the truth, you've got to flip through the pages.
No, it's a crime noir. It does look nice. And then it becomes CGI and yeah, I think we all know where this is going. You can definitely tell the quality is not very good. It's not Food Fight bad, but I think even Jimmy Neutron had better animation than this. Seriously, this is what you call plastic. Human characters will have a hard time emoting, but just wait and see what else lies within. Anyway, Anna Hathaway voices Red, the Little Red Riding Hood of the movie. And guess who voices the wolf of this movie?
Your mouth doesn't move when you talk.
Plastic surgery. Grandma's had a little work done. Now come on over here. Let's have a look at you.
Whoa. What big hands you have.
Oh, all the better to scratch my back with.
What big eyes you have.
Well, we just gotta sit around here and talk about how big I'm getting. You came here for a reason, didn't you? So tell old Granny what you got in the basket.
Patrick Warburton's in the movie! 10 out of 10, best actor around. It plays out like what a parody of Little Red Riding Hood would be. One with some cynicism, but then...
Save it, Red Foo. You've been dodging me all day, but now you might as well give up.
You crazy wolf. What have you done with Granny?
I'm taking Granny down, and you're next.
Granny!
But you, that's not my fault.
Ah! That face! Wait. Crime scene? Oh god. Did the wolf really kill them? Or wait, the woodsman usually kills the wolf at the end of the story. Does that mean it count for murder anyway? But oh god, those faces. This is very Uncanny Valley right now. Just what is going on? Well, according to Chief Grizzle here, who's voiced by Exhibit, which is spelt like this because rapper, it's possible that any of the four present could be connected to the Goody Bandit, who's been stealing recipes from across the land. They do mention that they were called in for the usual suspect crimes.
It's domestic disturbance. Breaking and entering, wielding an axe without a license, intent to eat.
But what makes you think that just because Granny, voiced by Glenn Close, happens to own recipes herself and could be connected? Even his accusation makes no sense.
Little Miss Rosie Cape's making covert deliveries to the Goody Tycoon. Wolfie tries to eat them both. Then Crazy Flannel Pants with the axe here busting swinging vigilante style. Take them downtown, boys.
Not so fast, Grizzly. That's the problem with you bears. Always grounding up the wrong tree.
Oh snap, it's David Stairs from MASH! Now it's a celebrity fest! He plays Nicky, who if I had to guess is a British detective. Grizzle believes he's already solved the case, but Nicky wants to hear from each of the 4 characters what went down today. Now, okay, this is neat as we get to see things from each other's perspectives, which in turn gives us a different part of the story. And now we know that there is some kind of mystery going on where someone is responsible for stealing recipes, for reasons unknown. So it's a matter of seeing who or what did it. With Red starting off, we get a relatively nice song, but more uncanny animation.
It's a tired old tale, but it still rings true.
Hey, Red.
She could never be rude or unkind. But a sad song played at the back of her mind.
Now, this is the kind of animation you still see nowadays with some Redbox films, as while CGI has progressed enough to where it's as defined as traditional animation, some independent studios are still behind on technology to actually use it. For the time anyway, given what we see, it is still somewhat impressive they managed to get a cohesive story like this in this design without major backing for a long time. At the very least, you can tell there's more emotion in a lot of these characters' facial expressions than the entirety of Food Fight. We're then introduced to Boingo, voiced by Andy Dick, who tells us about how the Muffin Man's shop was closed down due to losing his recipes, which means he's out of a job too.
Would a carrot crumpet make you feel better?
Oh boy, thanks, Red. I can always count on you to deliver, you little rascally devil.
Yeah, well, woods don't go around by themselves.
Shut it down.
So did no one have copies of their recipes stored away somewhere? And don't give me that excuse they wouldn't have them in this setting. They have frickin' police cars and some other things that wouldn't belong in this time period. I think someone would have access to a copier. She thinks about taking Granny's recipe book to her, but Granny doesn't approve of it since she's just a kid, and a trip like that would be too dangerous. This sets up her character arc as someone wanting to prove she's more than just a kid, and would like to go somewhere far away. But right now, it seems the Goody Bandit is planning to strike Granny's place next, and okay, is everyone in this town a baker or something? She decides to go ahead and take up her recipe book anyway, and even takes a cable car that Boingo still has to try and get there faster. But after a bit, she ends up falling out of the cable car, but it's okay. The trees are strong enough to catch her. It's here she runs into the wolf, and his assistant we'll see later.
So, you're the little girl in the red hood. That's quite a bit of falling you did just now.
Oh, you saw that.
Yeah, gravity's working. Those old cable cars on there. She wrote a letter. Wow, something smells good. Those, goodies in...
Come on, Patrick, you're better than this. Put a bit more feeling into it.
Hand over the basket.
You can't hold on to those recipes forever. I'll get you and your little granny, too.
Well, maybe his story will have better moments than this. So after meeting a goat who, funny enough, has horns that work like a rocking chair, we get a hint that Granny might not be what we thought she is, which gets Red to hurry along. Except we're stuck in a needless goat song.
But I got horns that open bottles, and I got horns that hold my keys. I got horns that when you turn them right, they help me watch TV. I got horns that open pickle jars, and horns that come with hair. I got horns that hang my other horns, I always come prepared.
Hey, do you have horns for stabbing people? You know, people like you. Finally, he takes her on a minecart coaster ride through the mountain and still has to sing. Yeah, I know it's because of a curse, but it still doesn't make it less annoying. It does kinda get funny once they have to outride an avalanche, but then we have this part.
Granny? Use the hood, Red. Use the hood.
Gotta have that Star Wars reference. Also, they just materialized from inside that cloud, as why else do we not see them go through it beforehand? Finally, she gets to Granny's house, which reenacts the first scene, but with some slight commentary and alterations. So far, the wolf appears guilty, but now it's his turn to tell his story.
May I call you Wolf? You can call me Sheila. I like long walks and fresh flowers.
Quit playing around, Wolf. You're looking at 3 to 5 in an old shoe with no windows. So start singing.
I get around the forest.
What do you do for a living, Mr. Wolf?
I'm a shepherd.
Hey.
Oh, I'm excited just to see the kind of ham he'll bring. Lay it on me, Patrick. I'm starving.
He's a reporter.
Oh, what?
And I've got the real story. I'm an investigative journalist. You've probably read my column, Facts and Fairy Tales. I've spent the last 6 months undercover investigating the so-called Goody Bandit. As more recipes go missing, the trail has gotten hotter. Huh? And I'm talking hot coffee. Hot coffee. All over my neck. Very, very painful. You know, people think a health board examiner doesn't lead a dangerous life, but I will tell you, my furry friend, food is dangerous.
Ah, yes. Yes, that's good ham. Like, okay, now that we know he's a journalist, we can now see that his earlier act is him investigating the Goody Bandit stuff, so of course he suspects Red of committing the crimes. But now I need to introduce you to that squirrel we saw earlier.
Twitchy, you gotta calm down.
I got a Burley and I got the gear. I was watching the girl like you told me to, the girl in the red hood.
Yeah, the girl in the red hood. Did you see where she went?
She went past the porcupines and the redbird tree and the guy with the long beard, and now she's up the creek and she sings everywhere she goes. She's like, la 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 la.
Yeah.
Good God. And I'm now noticing his movements are weird. It's not very fluid for CG. In fact, I remember reading on the wiki that the animation style was sort of like stop motion. Is that what they were going for? A mixture between normal CG movement and stop motion animation? Seems to only really happen with Twitchy though, and I don't know why. I will say some of the stuff we get with the fairy tale mystery shtick does lead to some humorous material.
How's it going, Woolworth?
Man, what are you doing here? Shepherd comes by and sees me talking to you. I'm gonna get the crook.
I want to know about the little girl in the red hood.
Don't know a thing, never heard of her. Little Red? Processing. Yeah, it's coming back to me now. Sweet gal, not like that Bo Peep.
Did I call her? Am I supposed to play it cool or what? Well, she's keeping her options open. Seeing other people, probably. You should do the same. Shh. Up there. Do you mind?
It takes what we know on characters like the wolf and puts a new spin on them. I mean, unlike in Shrek, where the characters were mostly based on their native story origin, but with some parts cynical, here they're like whole new characters with their own personalities while deviating slightly off their source. It puts a new spin on things, as instead of him wanting to eat Red, he wants to catch her for possibly being a bad guy. I'll be honest, this is definitely more entertaining than Dougal ever was, as even with the occasional pop cultural reference, they don't do it at the rate that feels obnoxious. They established their setting well enough to where you could see it happen, and it sometimes comes off as okay. Now, I'm not saying this movie will be great because of it, but at least I haven't erupted in a fit of rage over it. After losing her, they decided to go to Granny, and Boingo is here?
Going over to Granny's house to surprise Red. Is it her birthday, or what is it? Is there some kind of shindig? Because I'm great at parties. Watch me pull myself out of a hat.
Yeah.
That's twice now he's shown up. Could he be the one who did it? And at least the writers knew how to tie things together, as right now they explain why the rail track Red was on was broken. But if the dynamite was strong enough to break the rails on the bridge, why didn't they blow up the ones in the tunnel? Maybe because it was on solid ground and not a wooden bridge? Oh well, we now see that he had nothing to do with Granny getting tied up, as we see her in the closet, but he never noticed. Well, either way, it seems like based on that and the photos Twitchy took, he doesn't have a connection to the thefts. So it's time to ask the woodsman for his story. Kirk, as he's really called, is voiced by Jim Belushi, and he's...
This is a big and tall mistake. I would not hurt a butterfly. Yeah, that's a funny accent you got there, Choppy. I can do the cowboy accent. Howdy, partner.
Probably going to have a not so entertaining tale.
He's an actor.
No, boy.
Oh, so that's why he was yelling earlier. He was trying to play the part, I think. But why does he move like a robot? Even though he seems to not be able to get the part he wanted, he still has the food truck. Oh my god, that's still damn creepy!
Schnitzel, the favorite treat for little girls and boys to eat. Schnitzel man can serve them.
Why?
No more spoons. Use your hands.
Says the friendly Schnitzel man.
Make sure you keep an extra one for later in your later hosa.
Make it stop! Oh, make it stop! Schnitzel.
Oh, thank God!
Oh, that's too bad. It's not easy being in the goodie business these days, huh?
Okay, I was giving you credit for at least coming up with some original thoughts for your fairy tale parody, but now you're making it very obvious that Boingo is the one who did it. He keeps showing up in everyone's storylines, and this is especially major since Kirk is also a victim of the bandit.
Chin up, mister. Maybe someday somebody will open up a great big goodie shop and we can all work for that little guy.
And that's his motive! Come on, movie. Why not have another person with him then to at least throw off the possibility that the rabbit in the cable car did it? Man, you were so close with this too. Kirk gets a call back from the director who says that he might have gotten the part. So until then, he needs to go out into the woods to get his act up. Which of course leads to him going nuts in the woods, chopping down trees until nightfall, in which he hears the screams of Red being attacked, and yeah, he only went because he had to run away from the tree. So he didn't do it, which means it's all on Granny to tell her side of the story.
My family worries too much. I didn't want them to find out.
Find out what?
Yeah. What?
Hey, Chief! Check this out.
I noticed you have 3 G's tattooed on the back of your neck.
Yeah, apparently Granny is an extreme sportswoman. And I think at this point they gave up on music that would be okay for children and just, well... So apparently the reason she didn't want Red visiting is because she wanted to attend some skiing competition. And oh look, it's the missing character from the DVD cover! Given how the cover had the main cast hold their names and actors up, you'd probably think he's the one named Chief Grizzle. Well, nope, because I guess he was just another celebrity name to draw in kids into this movie, but because he didn't do anything for the main plot, they gave the honor of holding the sign to this guy since he is actually a hired criminal to the Goody Bandit, who by this point we know is Boingo because now he's here too. I at least thought we wouldn't see him here because how would he know about Granny's extreme sports fetish? Oh hey, the European team are a bunch of cheaters. And why does no one disqualify them? I'm sure this breaks the spirit of extreme sports. At least she gets to kick some ass, which is pretty neat, and before falling to her doom, she learns from their leader, Dolph, that they are in fact working for the bandit. Of course, she manages to get out of danger, but in order to stop the crooks, she causes the avalanche? Oh, and that hood bit from before? Also explained. Her getting tied up? Also explained. So yeah, she didn't do it either. But now Red is upset that Granny kept her a delivery girl this whole time.
I'm being ridiculous. You're off living La Vida Loca, risking your life for some dumb thrills, and I'm supposed to stay home and be your happy little delivery girl?
I thought you were happy.
Open your eyes. I've never even been outside the forest. Don't you think I want more than that?
Of course you do. You're a pucket.
I don't know what that means anymore.
And now a song that states the obvious plays while symbolic imagery crops up to show that red is now blue. Yeah, moving on. She reminisces about her family history, which seems sweet enough. And then they ruin it.
Cage gladiators. Granny.
Listen, Munchkin, if there are two things your granny doesn't do, it's lie and play extreme sports.
We really do tend to deny what we see or hear. Huh, Lauren. So the obvious happens. Someone disguised as Red ends up stealing the recipe in the basket, and while going over everyone's stories again, they start to believe Red did it. But Nikki is finally starting to realize the obvious.
There's someone else. The only one who was with Red when she fell.
No!
Who knew a shortcut to Granny's.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, in fact, I know a shortcut.
Who fraternizes with evil ski teams.
What's your name?
Just put to my biggest and cutest fan.
And someone who was there when the schnitzel truck was schnitzeled.
What the schnitzel?
Not the bunny!
Again, had he have others in his place during at least 2 of the stories, it probably wouldn't be as obvious. But really, it's the 3rd story that made it clear because he was there when Kirk's truck got robbed. Humor aside, the first half of the story was at least good enough to where you could keep some semblance of mystery for children to be questioning who did what. But by the second half, it becomes abundantly clear, so it just makes you wonder when they're going to figure it out. Even in a Scooby-Doo cartoon, they don't always give it away, yet this one does, and it just ruins the reveal at the end. So the cops go after the cable car, leaving everyone behind, but then they see the European skiers in Kirk's truck going up the mountain to where Red and Boingo really are. So the wolf decides to send Twitchy down to get the cops, after feeding him some coffee. And thus he became a marketing tool in the promotional material. So it turns out Boingo has some secret lair in the mountains, and faces. Anyway, Red confronts him and they fight.
Oh, you best be fearing the ear, baby.
Okay, this is pretty fun.
And kablam!
You're crazy.
Maybe so. But I'm top of the woods now, baby! We've really grown in the past year. Nabbing all the recipes was phase 1. Now phase 2 is adding my own special ingredient to every goodie. A little something I like to call boingonium. It makes my snacks a little more habit-forming. Happy customer!
And you couldn't just do that and run out everyone's business that way? Yeah, it'd still be illegal, like Brand X illegal, but at least there's a slim chance anyone will try to question it unless someone gets hurt from the addiction.
Oh, I said I'm gonna be top of the woods. You've been hoodwinked, baby!
Oh, title drop! Our remaining heroes find the lair and end up fighting the big guy. They beat him and have Kirk go under disguise. Yeah, like that will work.
Mr. Rabbit?
Dolph, where have you been? You nim-witted Euro trash with a, what is that, a ski mask? I like that.
Yeah.
See, that's scary. That's good.
And what he means to say is that I'm the building inspector.
Yes.
I just need to tap the pipe, see if your wiring's up to par.
You stupid rabbit! How do you not see past this? Despite Granny's best efforts, they do get found out, but they start to fight everyone. Boingo ends up sending Red down the mountain with dynamite, so Granny goes after her. They could just leave her and handle the remaining people here, but nope! Let's go after her and risk our lives! Extreme! Twitchy stopped the police earlier and tried telling them everything, but couldn't. But they do manage to get his conversation recorded and played back slowly so it sounds like Corey Edwards. Not like it matters now because the cable car goes past them. Granny rescues Red, and I guess the whole "she doesn't trust you" line from Boingo meant nothing because Red is on board with listening to her again. And then the bad guys who were following them miss them and end up grinding into the back of the police car? How the hell did they manage that? So they're arrested, Granny and Red make up, and things wind down as we find out Kirk managed to fulfill his dream of being in a yodeling band, and Nikki asking our heroes to become part of something big.
Out there that need a happy ending. I'm part of a secret organization that makes sure that happens.
Happily Ever After Agency?
The woods don't go around by themselves.
Yeah, all right. Okay, we fight the bad guys, ride the steamboats, climb the walls, and swing through the windows, secret agent style, right? Yeah!
So, what do you think?
Bring it, honey.
I always did like happy endings.
And that was Hoodwinked, and I didn't hate it, but it wasn't that good. Concept-wise, they did at least try to be creative and not go completely cynical like Shrek, and the different take on the classic fairy tale characters was fun to an extent, but even then they end up falling apart in plot after a while when they give away the villain rather easily, which takes away any suspense it might have had. Some of the characters were likable, the wolf especially, and while I think this is one of Patrick Warburton's more tame performances, like, he doesn't completely ham it up here, his character is still pretty fun to watch. Twitchy is surprisingly not as bad as I thought he would. He still falls into the same trap as other characters like him, but if anything he's more like the minions in the first Despicable Me movie. He's not in it that much. But oh my god, the one thing that I feel is wrong in this entire thing is the animation. I know with an $8 million budget and an independent studio, I wasn't expecting much for the time it was made, but they go into Uncanny Valley so much that it makes everyone and everything scarier than it needed to be. Even so, I could still see people liking it for its humor, but I personally wouldn't recommend it. Still, the film did get mixed reviews and even made $100 million back at the box office. So it's a financial success that helped get a sequel 6 years later. But by the end of the day, at least we can move on knowing that even now the world will see less of this freaky character modeling as everyone strives to perfect the art of CGI. I mean, even the AAA gaming industry is getting better with it. Let's never make mention of this. Well, besides the next video, next month we'll begin Season 5 with the anime everyone's been waiting for, Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5!
Okay, I think this calls for another.
Scary